Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Stephen Howson. Bit of a World Cup roundup. Going to talk about some of the stuff that is going on in all of the World Cup, essentially. No Ronaldo with me today. It's just me flying solo. Ronaldo flew home. Well, that's probably getting on a flight around about now, actually. He left here about 5 hours ago, actually. Yeah, so he's probably on the plane and on his way right about now, on the way home. But how's it going? Everyone having a good Saturday morning? Paddock are playing later this afternoon at 2. If you're in the area, get yourself down, go and watch it. Get any questions in, and I'll see what I can do in terms of answering them. But yeah, I wanted to talk a little bit about last night's games. I went to Germany, Costa Rica, and I'm actually gutted that we're going to lose the 32 team and group format that we've currently got, because it allows us to have the sort of stuff that we saw last night, which was just genuinely brilliant. Just genuinely brilliant entertainment. You've got the groups just changed how often during the course of that. I think at one point Germany and Spain were going through, and at one point Germany and Spain were going out, and then obviously it finishes up with Japan topping the group and Spain scraping through. And at one point Spain were going out and they were below a team that they beat 7-0. Absolutely bonkers. And we lose this now for America. When we get to America, it's a 48-team tournament. I think what we know at the moment is it's going to be groups of 3 where 32 of the teams are going to advance. But they can't play on the same day, obviously. So you don't get the kickoff. So like if your group, your team C in a group, A and B are playing each other, you're sitting there watching. It's weird. It's just not the same sort of structured format that we have with 32. I'd almost go to the point and say 48 is a shit show. Remember when it was a 24-team World Cup? I think 98 was when they introduced 32 teams, or after 98. One of the two. But the 24-team tournament formats were dog shit. And I think the 48-team tournament format is going to be dog shit. We've had times when it's... is it Friday? No, it isn't. Okay, apparently it's Friday. Who knew? Literally don't know what day it is. I apologise. Paddock playing tomorrow. I had some alarms set. I'm going to have to unset them. Fair enough. Yeah, I wondered what I said. 3 points today, lads, and no one replied. I thought, fucking hell, pied me. No, not pied me. Just don't know what day it is. But anyway, yeah, so the 48-team format, 2/3 of the teams going through. I think it's an absolute shit show. Yeah, I think in the past there's been like 2 group formats in the World Cup. I don't know. What's one of those in it? Anthony says, who'd have thought Japan would top this group? Literally nobody. Who'd have thought that Costa Rica and Japan were going through in a group that had Spain and Germany, which they were for 70-something seconds, I think. Notch says, FIFA are considering keeping the groups of 4 for 2026. Good. Because it makes for so much entertainment. Like, how have we had 2 days of utter carnage on the last day the way we've had? It's been brilliant. It's been everything that you want out of a World Cup, hasn't it? Like, how many times has the group been in jeopardy on the last day where every single team on the final day can still qualify? That's a great format. That is a great format. There's no need whatsoever to mess with that. Bison Trooper says, I wonder why they're doing 48. Is it cash? Yep, it's cash. But I don't think it makes the product better. I think it dilutes it. If anything, I definitely think... I mean, I've been talking about this. I don't know if I spoke about it on air before, but I've been talking about this quite a bit with people just hanging around. And I think it's high time that there was a second level of competition brought in. Both world and European stage. It must be fucking depressing being Liechtenstein, Malta, Cyprus, some of these nations, San Marino and that, where they turn up in a World Cup qualifier, they get fucking smacked around. Belarus. I mean, do they win one game, a tournament, a qualification every now and then? it must be depressing for the fans of those things. And on one hand, I go, okay, yeah, they get to see some big teams, Germany, Spain, France, Italy, England turn up. Okay, great. And that's a positive, I guess, for them. But England's groups always is like the same teams. It's like Slovenia, Slovakia, occasionally get a Croatia. Sometimes you get a Sweden, you get fucking San Marino. Like, you literally know the groups that you're going to get. And they're so heavily weighed towards the teams at the top going through. It's literally a waste of everybody else's time. I almost think that you should have it like, maybe you have like 40 or 50 teams, and that's your like top league. And from there, 32 get to qualify for the World Cup. And those that finish bottom of that, they get relegated into the second league. And if you come top of your division in the second league, you get qualified and you get to go and try and qualify for the World Cup. Like, not everybody gets to go to the Champions League, do they? You have to be in the Premier League and then you have to finish at the top of the Premier League. So why not make it like that so it can be more competitive? Because having just, I mean, Europe's got what? I don't even know, actually. Let's have a look. How many countries in Europe? I feel like there's like 50 or something. There are 44 countries in Europe, right? So you could easily make this. You could easily make a two-tier league sort of thing, easily, and you could maybe you have 22 and 22, like the old league top divisions used to be, and maybe everyone in the top league gets to go to the finals. But you have to win the second league if you're in the second league to go for it. I don't know. I've not fucking fully thought this out. But there's got to be some way better to do it. But the point I'm trying to make is there should be something for the lesser nations, your fucking Luxembourgs and San Marinos and stuff, to go and have a finals and have this sort of day out. Like, there should be something in there for people to do that. Both on a world stage and on a European stage. Like, can you imagine how fucking cool it would be? That'd be wicked. Now, yes, the 48-team World Cup is going to introduce some more, but it's still only a quarter of the people involved in playing football. So that means 3/4 of the national teams that play football are not going to go to any sort of finals tournament. Like, if you want to grow football and you want to improve the levels of football, you've got to introduce proper competition where people can test themselves. How does San Marino fucking test themselves? And I know the Nations League was a little bit of a nod to that, but it's not a tournament. There's no finals. And it also gives the opportunity for some of these smaller nations to maybe host some tournaments, bring in tourism to these places. It's a fucking good idea. I haven't fucking fully wrote it out, but vote for Steve for UEFA president and we'll box it. Thriller says, I'd like more African nations in the World Cup. African nations bring a lot, and they're difficult. You don't often see them just getting trounced, do you? And obviously we've got some we've got quite a few going to the knockouts. Nigeria not being here is a big blow for everybody, I think. Osama says, depressing as an Ireland fan. Depressing for Ireland, depressing for Scotland, depressing for Wales. You know, the home nations aren't exactly killing it at these things. Northern Ireland, you know, when was the last time they was at a World Cup? Was it when Norman Whiteside was playing? Alex says, why is no one talking about signing Tony? Yeah. I just need to read this out. So the title, we're talking about, was it in? We've done a poll. What do you guys reckon on the poll? Was it in? Was it out? You vote in the poll below and let me know what you think. But there was some mad stats come out of the game yesterday. You had Rodri completing over 200 passes for Spain. You had Japan with 17.7% of ball possession and win. Just an absolute mad. It was the lowest possession that's ever been recorded in a World Cup finals. Just a mad game full of really interesting stats, and that's what we want to do on XG Files is come up with those sorts of things. Basically, Japan had only a few less touches than Rodri managed. Like, just utter bonkers. But the important thing here on this one is, for all the possession and everything had and all the rest of it, in terms of the actual XG of the game, Japan had 1.3, Spain had 1.1. So as well, Spain was having a lot of shots. They only had a couple of shots from good areas. Japan scored a screamer from long range, but 2 goals, one for Spain, one for Japan, came from inside the 6-yard box. That's literally the whole part of what XG is all about. Are you taking high quality chances? And Spain had a lot of pot shots. I think they probably had 6 or 7 shots from outside the box, and didn't get many on target. But that's the one. You got to take your shots. Brian Case says Nations League is just a way of not doing friendlies every 2 weeks. Yeah, they've made it more relevant to the rankings, and you do play teams around you, but it's still not quite cricket, is it? Raymond says, I'm in a 48-team World Cup, and the US, Mexico, and Canada hosting the next tournament. How does that work with CONCACAF teams? How many get to qualify? Aldo says, can't believe how many are blind. It's out of play, but so are Germany. It's not out of play, though. The ball's in. The whole ball. It's all about the perspective that you look at it, right? Just because you can see a little bit of grass, the ball is round, like the earth. The ball is round, and if you draw a line straight down from the bird's eye view, the whole of the ball hasn't crossed the line, and therefore the ball is in. Like, we have so many arguments at paddock on a touchline when the ball's not completely gone out, and people just booting off, being like, the ball was out on the whole of the ball, my friend. That's what counts, the whole of the ball. 6 CONCACAF teams apparently are going to qualify, says GHTs. Osama says the ball was in. Jamie says a 2 tier 1 would be class. This is the best Scotland team we've had in my life, and it'll go nowhere. And the Nations League has really helped us grow. Yeah, I think, but can you imagine? I don't know what you call it. So you got the World Cup. You do it like the FA Cup, the FA Trophy. You have the World Trophy. You've got the World Cup, the World Trophy, and the World Vase. Do a 3 tier 1. There's enough teams to do it. You can have your top 50 teams whittled down to 32, I guess 48. Your top 60 teams, 70 teams, they get to qualify for the world, compete for and qualify for the World Cup. Then you got your next lot that get to qualify for your World Trophy, and then your next lot that qualify for the World Vase. Maybe that's it. Vote for Steve. Here's my super thought out plan for how we fix football. And do you know what? FIFA would probably love it because they get to put on more tournaments and sell more sponsorship. You see, FIFA have made 7.5 billion. For all the shit people are giving Qatar, and some of it's definitely valid, it's FIFA that's the fucking problem in all of this lot. If you've not seen it, is it called Kickback on Amazon? I think it's Kickback. Let me just check. Just Googling what it's called. Yeah, if you've not seen the Kickback FIFA documentary on Amazon, it's fucking outrageously good. It's so good. Who's the best player of the tournament so far? Griezmann and Mbappe have been absolutely ridiculous. Connor says some people think the world is flat there, Steve. Yep, they do. Who's been the most controversial player on the World Cup so far? In what sense? Oh, and by the way, Ronaldo is currently on a plane with Gabi Agbonlahor. There's some fun to be had there, isn't there? But I don't know what fun. Steve says there's no debate. Japan won. Germany crashed out, but they only have themselves to blame. Yeah. Germany's team mega underperformed. Mega underperformed. I can't imagine what the British press would be like if England had finished how they finished. I mean, the last 2 World Cups. Absolute carnage. Alex Bolton says the earth is flat. Mankey says World Conference. Aldo says it was all exciting though last night. Best about the World Cup so far. Yeah, the last 2 nights have been brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Really enjoyed them. What's the best game of the World Cup so far? Hasn't been many. I mean, there's been a few absolute bangers. There's been a few really top games. Yeah, I don't know if I'd say that. I thought, you know, I've been on course for a couple of 0-0s. It was neither of them two. I'll tell you that for free. Last night was a good game though. Notch says, my problem is friendlies still get arranged despite the Nations League. Yeah. I think that there probably should be. I don't like how disruptive the friendlies are to what's going on. I could get behind probably somewhat along the lines of you wouldn't want it in December too much. And you need to space it out a little bit. So let's say maybe there is an autumn and a spring qualification period for internationals, and then the summers are reserved for finals and tournaments. I think that would be the best way to do it. So you pick your squad, you get a 26-man squad like you do now. You go away, you play 3, 4, 5 games, and then international football is done. Because that's my problem with it. Like, loads of people have been in the comments saying, I thought you didn't like international football. No, I don't like international friendlies. They piss me off. Because you just get into the rhythm of the Premier League. You play 2 or 3 games, and there's an international break. What is the fucking point, mate? What is the point? The managers aren't picking people on form. They're just picking people who they know. It's absolutely fucking diabolical. And then there's one like every month for that. And you think... You lose multiple games in that because they've got to do a bit of training, get together, do all that sort of stuff. It's nonsense. Let them go away, do a big block of training, get a few games out, get some rhythm going with their countries, then come back and focus on their clubs for another 3, 4 months, 5 months, whatever it is. That's what you need to do. I would say autumn and spring, do like a 4-week block of international friendlies or Nations League or qualifiers or whatever the fuck you want it to be. Maybe one of them can be Nations League and the other one is your qualifiers for World Cups and Euros, something like that. Just fucking blast them out. It'd be quality. And everyone would get into it because there would literally be no option because top flight football would be over while you fucking deal with this shit. And it'd be quality. It'd be the way to do it. Serbia-Cameroon was the best game so far, said Rebel D. Sama says Saudi Arabia versus Argentina or the Iran and Wales game. Saudi Arabia-Argentina was a fucking carnage one, wasn't it? Ghana, South Korea was the best so far, says Rai Dobby. Portugal, Ghana was my favourite so far, says Alex. I've had a chance to catch the Australia game so far. I feel like we've massively overachieved and not many had them getting a point. No, not really. Not a full 90 at least anyway. League One is still playing, says Patrick. Yeah, but how many League One players are here? It makes no sense for all of the leagues to stop if they've got no players involved. Plum Fan says the ball was completely out. Well, it completely wasn't. Paul says Spain are like City, technically dull and try and put the other team to sleep. Well, there's all sorts of ways to dice this up. Listen, I'm going to roll this over to our sponsor and I'll be back in a few seconds. This holiday season, I'll be giving thanks to our friends over at Manscaped and the return of football's biggest stage. My pride for my Dong squad and my country have never been stronger since Manscaped upgraded my grooming game with the ultimate men's hygiene bundle. Avoid a Marwan Fellaini bush in your midfield and clean up your midsection with Manscaped, proud sponsors of XG File Show, and join over 7 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer by going to manscaped.com, getting XG20 code in there. Loads of people getting in the comments. Get your questions in the comments. Rockstar says, João Felix, 85 million. What am I thinking? I'm thinking, no, I think we need a big boy up front, and João Felix isn't that good player, but not right for us, I don't think. Rebel D says, I think it means would love a smaller nation to win the World Cup. I don't think it's likely though, mate. I think you're looking at probably something in the region of France, Argentina, Brazil, Portugal. That's got to be your 4 favourites. I mean, right, we are all but done with the group stages. Let me know in the comments. Who do you guys think? Who's winning it from you guys? Just one word. No explanation. You know what? France, England, whoever it is you think, just bosh it in. Daniel says, irrelevant that it was out. They would have drawn Germany. Still not going through. Michael says, been surprised by England. Thought they would only win games 1-0, but love seeing Rashford scored. It has to be said, though, they've beaten Iran and they've beaten Wales. And then they drew with America. Let's not pretend that they've just boshed in the 1990 Germany side or something. Glenn says Argentina. Handful of people saying Brazil. Brian with Argentina. Bojan with France. A lot saying Brazil. I still have France a touch ahead of Brazil, but I'm going to say we've got one for Japan there. Brazil seems to be the team that's got the overwhelming votes there. Okay. And Jimmy says England will win the World Cup. Oh, look, if England do win the World Cup, then you've got to hold your hands up and say, well, fair play, you have absolutely deserved that, because to get that point now, they're going to have to beat Senegal. Not the easiest game. You saw how the pure athleticism of America shut them down, and I think you're going to have that sort of energetic, grafty, sort of gritty performance from Senegal. If they get through Senegal, it's probably going to be France, and then it'll probably be Portugal. If you get through both of those, you've got Argentina or Brazil awaiting in the final. And if you get through that, then fair play. You've done it, and you've beaten the 4 teams, or at least 3 of the 4 teams that should have won the thing. So if you've done that, you absolutely deserve everything that you're going to get. And no one can say anything to you because you've absolutely smashed it. Rye Dobby says if there's going to be a shock, it would be Japan. Well, Japan, very technically gifted side. And they've been clinical. The fact that they've beaten Spain and Germany. Impressive. Streets Don't Lie says, facts, we will have a World Cup winner from United. Yeah, that's the answer that you all missed, is that who's winning the World Cup? Manchester United are winning the World Cup. So fresh off the back of winning Eredivisie and then the greatest competition in the world in the UEFA Youth, in the FA Youth Cup, we will be world champions. So well done, Erik ten Hag. Sensational work. Guy's a genius. Alex says if there's a shock, it'll be Morocco. They look insane. They've got good players and a great team, and they top their group. Yeah, it's been good, isn't it? And I'm glad everyone's talking about the football. I'm glad everybody is talking about the football. Tovar says Croatia will beat Japan, and it comes a showdown with Brazil in the quarter-final. And then the shock defeat for Brazil. Remember my words. Very confident from Tovar in the comments that. Sal says, surprise, all the teams don't seem particularly special. It's mid-season, isn't it? It's a strange one. Seifel says, if Japan win, it's going to be one of the biggest underdogs. Undoubtedly. And B. Obianuli says, is it a debate? The ball was out. The ball's in, mate. I genuinely can't believe people are even arguing about this sort of thing. I did see a comment earlier from someone, so thank you. Someone in the comments at the start of the video that was saying, like, why don't they expand the goal line technology to the touchline? Especially for things like corners and things like that, because the butterfly effect of something going out for a corner incorrectly or correctly could have a huge consequence. Imagine that in 1999. If there'd have been controversy about whether the ball hadn't gone out or not, and we just get a goal kick, awarded for Bayern Munich, and then we lose the Champions League final in 1999 1-0 because we didn't get the corner that we were meant to get, and then subsequently didn't get the second corner. Like these little so-called inconsequential decisions, was it a goal kick or was it a corner? Was it a throw-in for you or against you? These sorts of things really matter. And when these sorts of things go against you, incorrectly, they can have enormous consequences. It takes 3 or 4 seconds to score a goal from anywhere on the pitch. So a wrong decision going the wrong way, it can have genuinely drastic consequences. Paul says, am I watching the MUFC friendlies next week? Going to be interesting to see what team Ten Hag puts out. I'm going to try, but I'm struggling just watching all the World Cup games because they're on back to back, and the travel involved in getting to and from some of the games is madness. I didn't get until 3 a.m. this morning from the back of the Germany-Costa Rica game. Fucking 3 a.m. Drive an early night and all. Ed says, why can't they use this judgment with offsides instead of offside by a toe nonsense? I used to like it when it was daylight. There's no advantage to be had. Think about what you got to go. What's the spirit of the offside rule? It's an unfair advantage by you being behind the defensive line. There is no unfair advantage if my armpit hair is in front of your chest, is there? We're basically level, so that surely should be onside. I reckon the daylight one made the most sense because then you are genuinely behind and you're going to be at least a foot or the width of a whole person in behind. For me, that the daylight one, I don't know how you roll that up on VAR though, but if you have to zoom in and get a pixel and say that little pixel there's offside, you're not fucking offside, because offside is the unfair advantage of being behind the defensive line. You're not behind it if your toes there. in my opinion. So the spirit of the rule is wrong. The interpretation of the rule is probably correct, but the spirit of the rule is incorrect, in my opinion, the way it's being used. John Hemingway says daylight rule was the way to go. Yeah, totally agree. Notch says Sky used technology to scrutinise the 1966 goal. Surely they can apply the same to the Japan goal. They've got enough cameras to be able to give you a virtual reality version of what's happened with it. Yeah. Any strikers catching my eye? Not necessarily currently an out-and-out striker, but Cody Gakpo's doing bits. He's just doing absolute madness, isn't he? What do I think of Gvardiol? Yeah, Gvardiol's a baller. There's some players there that would absolutely just drill at United, and he's one of them. Is the weather getting colder? Where's my phone? My phone's behind me. Can't reach it. It's 30 degrees today. Not in my room, though, because the air conditioning is top. I think there's a family of penguins living in the corner of my room at the moment, and that's how I like it. But yeah, I've got a balcony. It's a little I mean, I don't even know if you'll be able to see it, but pan the camera around. Yeah, I thought it would just white out. I have a balcony that sort of looks on the back side of... You've probably seen bits of Lusail sort of boulevard on the telly at times. Basically, there's a row of buildings there, like shops and stuff. I'm looking at the back of those. Lusail Boulevard is like 200 meters away or so on there. Michael Doty says the benefit of doubt was given to the striker in theory, but was almost never implemented. Dave Gardner says, I think if the striker's in line by any part of the body with the last defender, then it's on. Advantage should go to the attacking team. Yeah, of course. Mankey says, put a time limit on offside VAR. He says, yes, of course. See, together, we've just made football better with about 4 different ideas today. Not fucking doing it, innit? Rage Gear says, Tyler Adams is a baller and he's only going to get better. IQ Insane says that means 24 at night. Perfect. Loon Mandin says if VAR takes longer than 20 seconds, the FIFA should go with the on-field decision. Yeah, it shouldn't be let's spend 3/4 of an hour to get the decision right. That's just fucking nonsense. You have to allow the fact referees are going to make mistakes. You don't want to have tons of them, of course, but things happen. And like we've said, sometimes the lino gives the wrong call on a throw-in, and a team goes and scores from that and wins something or gets relegated on the back of that. Massive, massive consequences on what was an incorrect decision. And that's why I think the interpretation of some of these rules, especially when it's like we only give VAR decisions for goals scored and things like that. But the whole game is a massive knock-on effect of everything happening in the game. It is. Have I been enjoying the World Cup? Kind of didn't give a shit with all the media talk about it, but after watching some of the games, I've loved it. Truly chaotic. Yeah, I love chaos. I love chaos and I love madness. So, of course, I've loved the World Cup. Like, I was fucking absolutely pissing my pants with excitement watching all the different permutations. I do mention this on the vlog, but I had a Germany top on at the game last night, and there was a couple of times that people had come up to me just speaking pure German. And I guess, I've got fairly light hair. I've got blue eyes. I'm wearing a Germany top. If we're adhering to some sort of stereotypes here, I look pretty fucking German, don't I? So, not surprised people are coming up to me and speaking in German. And luckily, the only German that I know is like, Nein, sprechen Sie Deutsch. And then the guy just translated immediately into flawless English. Accented, but flawless English. And then it makes you think, we're fucking well shit as a nation. I know that people do languages at schools, but you do like 3 languages at schools and come out not being able to speak a fucking single one of them. I would love to be bilingual. I think it's a massive skill. And for some reason, I don't know if it's an arrogance thing as a nation, Britain is well shit. How many of you went to school in Britain and come out being bilingual, unless you had family that were that spoke another language? Fucking none of us. None of us. So the schooling in the UK is bullshit. The people sitting here watching this that have got a fucking GCSE in French or something and don't have a fucking pot of glue about anything in French. Josh says watching all the way from Bahamas. Fucking that's early o'clock over there, isn't it? That must be shit like 4 or 5 a.m. Would I give Rashford 350 grand a week? Probably not. But when you look at what other people are on at the club, You might have to. Theoretically, at least. Any incidents that I've seen or heard around the World Cup that have not been reported. Wasn't a lot of reporting about the overcrowding at the fan festival on the opening day. But I don't believe anyone was hurt. And I actually think that if no one was hurt, then they dealt with it quite cleanly, in all honesty. They turned everyone away. Simon says, so you love hot countries but freezing cold rooms. Correct. Especially when I'm sleeping at night. It needs to be fucking freezing. But yeah, when I'm out walking around, I like the sun. I fucking love the sun. Josh says it's 5:45 a.m. on honeymoon and major jet lagged in the gym. Oh, congratulations. Enjoy. MK Dizzle says, if I'm a betting man, what club do I think Ronaldo ends up at? Well, I did see that there's a Saudi Arabian club willing to pay him like, what, $3 million a week? I can see that. I don't know who else is going to pay him the sort of salary he really wants, but I think he probably wants to be in the Champions League. I think he's about that, you know. CX says, trying to improve my English to live in the UK, and your vids help me. You're going to be turning up in England like, all right, our kid, what's going on? Sometimes it's easier to learn full phrase conversations. I was sat next to an Argentinian lady last night, and she was teaching me that there is, and someone actually sent me a sticker on Twitter. Let me see if I can find that sticker. So someone did send me this last night. Let me see if I can find it. It was probably 12 hours ago. Might take a minute. But there is a phrase that Argentinians chant when they are singing, and it's basically, if you don't jump, you're English. That's literally all they're singing when they're in the stands, which is fucking minting it, and I like it. Have we found it yet? Oh, there it is, I think. Nope. I'm just getting loads of people replying to me about the ball not being over the line from last night. I can't find it. Oh, there you go. So it is El que no salta es un inglés. If you don't jump, you're English. Which is a proper top diss. But yeah. Right, I'm going to wrap it up there. Check out our sponsor, Manscaped. If you're looking for a Christmas present for someone, I think you've probably still got a little bit of time to get that in. There's a little bit of paddock merch left. It's pure limited edition. If you want to get in the mixer on that one, there's 15% off. So head over to stratfordpaddockfc.com/shop. Take it easy. Enjoy the rest of the games today. And I'll catch you lot in the next one. Laters. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, five-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.